Hello again, it's Garson, and today we're talking about Druid? No, it's Halsin as an Archfey Warlock, and I don't have all the time like I normally do, so what I'm going to do is show you at least something I figured out. We were talking about this in chat, so I found out at least one fun thing. I call it Halsin's Wild Ride. Are you ready? Here we go.
Witnessed assaulting.
Oh yeah, the epic team up. Halsin and Hadar, here we go. Let's go ahead and bring you over here. That's right. I think you're gonna really like this. That's right, Cuthbert. Get in there. No, I don't want to. I'm not really asking you. You're just gonna do it. No! There we go. Alright, cool. We can just run over here, get ready. Okay. It's cool. And Halsin's turn. So what we're going to do for Gale is we're going to add this super cool thing called Greater Invisibility. Gale is that's right, he's our Valor Bard with crazy stealth. So what we're going to do is have him come over here, start blasting people who get in this circle. Pew pew! Just make life awfully terrible for them. Nobody can see us. Okay. And then Jaheira can come over here. Perfect. Alright. Oh no! Oh. See how far you can get with a dash. Damn, son. Nice jump. It'd be an awful shame if you got pushed right back into it, wouldn't it? Okie dokie. No, 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 no! Perfect. And then we'll just go ahead and push you right back. There we go. And then we can just laugh at him. And then we can just keep blasting them. Pew pew! Can't see me! Can't see me! Alright. Now surely we can invite some friends, right Halsin? So he's got mad distance. There we go. Anybody else want to come on over here? That's what I thought. Alright. So, gonna go ahead, position myself over here. Let's just laugh at this guy. Gale's still invisible. We're pretty good. Alright, come on over. There's plenty of fun to be had over here in Halsin's Wild Ride. Uh-oh, Misty escape. Pew! And we're gonna go invisible. Bing! Where'd he go? Come on over. I want to go on Halsin's Wild Ride. I heard great things. Of course, everybody has, but let's first start shooting at this robot here. Pew pew. Can't see me. Can't see me. There we go. There we go. Where'd he go? Oh, yeah, normally you get detected, but we'll pretend like, yeah, it worked out this time. So what's cool is Misty Step. You can reposition yourself, let's say right here. Alright. And then I can just push you in. Alright, sweet. Also, we're going to pick you up. And we should probably reposition. How about we go over here? Pick you up, throw you in the Wild Ride. I want to go on Halsin's Wild Ride. Whee! Alright. And we got one more throw, so we'll reposition right here. Pick you up, send you in. Yeah, go ahead, hit your buddy. Oh, he said no, I don't want to. That's fine, that's fine. So, once again, we'll just make fun of whoever's in there. Haha! Oh my god! It's a living hell! Oh! Well, now we don't have concentration. That's okay. That's okay. Gale said I'm sick of this crap anyway. So. Just start blasting you anyway. Pew pew! Pew pew! I'll run this way. Alright. Nice try. Alright. So what we can do with Jaheira is, since we're maimed, not a big deal. We should be able to get this whole monster. Keep him out of the fight for the moment. We can go ahead and Misty Step out of here. Or actually, let's just heal. Not a big deal. Da-da-da. Come back over here. And then let's continue the wild ride. No! No! Same thing with you. Go ahead, you can join him. It's too good. You know what's funny is I can actually hit him with the offhand. There we go, with the bonus action, I think. Nice. We're good. Oh, good. So now we'll just keep on blasting. How about that? Let's go ahead, shoot you. Pew, pew. Nice. And we'll shoot you. Pew. Alright. You're dead. I want to get off Halsin's wild ride. Halsin's wild ride makes me sick. Oh, actually lost concentration. That's A-okay with me. Tell you what, why don't we just dominate you? Perfect. Now you can fight the robot with us. And we can go ahead use our bonus action with our main hand. Thanks to Belm. And everybody can get a hit on this. Da-da-da. Oh yeah, you came out of that? That's cool. I'll just cast it again. Perfect. Alright. Now everybody's here. We're all a team. So let's run up to the whole monster guy. Let's go. Pew pew. Get some free crits in. Pew pew. Alright. Come on over here. There you go, Natine. Get him! That's right. We've always been friends. And then up close, we can just Eldritch Blast. Perfect. We like that. We can even use our bonus action for another hit. And then, of course, we can also Eldritch Blast. Pew pew pew! Oh yeah. Kaboom! How you doing, Natine? Alright. Well, I didn't exactly get to show off the Fae presence, but whatever. We did it. So, what are we talking about today? It's going to be a quick one, or at least I'm going to try and make it quick. I don't have a lot of time today, but let me pop out the notes like usual. We're going to kind of blitz through this because I don't have a... Well, you heard me already. So this is a quick dip into the Archfey Warlock. There's a lot more I want to look into this. Seems like I can make something fun out of it already because, well, Warlock's my favorite class, and also Warlock already has some pretty broken stuff. So, as always, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. I've had tremendous support lately, so thank you to all watching the stream or watching the videos. Just watching is pretty cool enough, right? But if you actually want to support the channel another way, just watch till the end, all right? So we'll make this quick. I don't have a lot of notes to go over. Just some subclass perks we'll blitz through, and then I'll give you my shallow analysis, because I haven't really looked into this enough in my opinion. And then builds, well, we'll look at what I'm doing with Halsin and why it works, okay? So the subclass itself is a subclass for Warlocks. If you actually look at it real quick, we're at level 12 here. We didn't multi-class. I'm sure there's plenty of other things we could have done with this, but the Archfey is something you pick at level 1 on Warlock, right? And what you get right off the gate is Fey Presence. Sorry I didn't really use it. We didn't really need it in that scenario, but per short rest, you're able to choose a Charm or Frighten, okay? So if you actually select these, like this, and if say you wanted to go with Frighten, right? Maybe you're a caster, or maybe you're a melee user, this won't work unless you're already in combat, so keep that in mind, right? But you'll be able to affect the entire area right here once per short rest. And if you frighten them, this is going to lower the opponent's attack against you. It gives them disadvantage, and they can't move. If you charm them, well, then they're charmed and they won't try and attack you anyway. So, kind of cool perk for level 1 dip, right? It's an action, though. It's not a spell, so it won't use any spell slots. And also, it's got a area radius, and it only affects foes, so you'll have to start combat so the game knows there's foes to affect, right? Otherwise, it's a small area, 10-foot effect, and you get it back on short rest, so that's pretty cool. You also get Fairy Fire and Sleep, so we'll go over the spells as we level up too. Fairy Fire, just so you know, is a very good low-level early game spell to give your accuracy. So in things like honor mode, you might want to know the different methods it takes to raise your team's accuracy. This applies a debuff and anybody in this circle, including your teammates. And I don't know about yourself, but I do know it hits allies and enemies alike. But it can mean the difference between hitting them or not, because it will add advantage if you go to hit them. It's a debuff, okay? Sleep is also pretty powerful early on, but kind of drops off. Well, depends, right? So you have up to 56 hit points as a requirement. There's no concentration, so that's pretty cool, right? But there's no upcasting benefit to either of these spells, so just keep that in mind, and I'll kind of reference that in the analysis. But you can put them to sleep, so effectively locking them out of combat for 2 turns if you can land it, and they're under that 56 hit points. So level 3, calm emotions, kind of underrated. If you're worried, like in honor mode, you want to know, you want to know if you're going into an encounter, if you can be charmed or frightened. This is something you want to be bringing to the table. So this could be really useful in a certain fight, especially against, say, the spectator, the beholder, the giant floating thing with 1 eyeball. So just being careful. You can keep yourself from being frightened, or the Gith Yankees typically like to use stuff like that. So what you'll do is you'll cast this again in a circle, and it'll affect everybody in the circle, but it's 10 turns of concentration. So again, concentration spell, keep that in mind. And oh, once again, there's no upcasting. But anyway, Fey exclusive right there. Phantasmal Force is a spell that will continue to do the last damage a target took. Will, on their turn, once it's their turn again, they'll take that same damage type, I think 1d8, but again, it doesn't really upscale, and that's kind of why I don't have it here. But just keep in mind, if you know some better way to use Phantasmal, let me know. I don't think very highly of it. Blink is something that's really interesting. It seems to be really useful now that I've actually tried it, but I want to experiment a little bit more with this. But on paper, effectively, you'll have a 50-50 chance on a d20. Higher rolls, 11 or higher, will allow you to blink out of existence into another plane, so you can't be attacked or whatnot. I don't know. I got to test this a little bit based on how it breaks concentration or whatnot. But the cool thing about this is it keeps you safe if you do get this roll. So it's a little bit up to random chance, but then it also allows you to teleport a short distance right here, okay? So on your next turn, you can teleport a short distance, keep yourself safe, and you're affected for 10 turns, and it doesn't cost concentration. But yet again, it's not an upcastable spell, so keep that in mind. Something to talk about in a future video, or just, you know, future analysis. Plant growth, as you can see, I really like on this. So plant growth, what it does is you put down a circle of plant. If anybody uses fire, by the way, it'll delete this. But the cool thing is for 10 turns, it'll quarter movement speed. Most difficult terrain will half movement speed. So this is huge, right? You can cut somebody's speed down dramatically. That's why with dash, these guys couldn't even move. All right, so plant growth, pretty powerful, no concentration, which is really great. And honestly, to get into this plant growth, you would have to go into a class that has this all the way about level 5, level 6. So for multi-classing, that could be a real damper if you're trying to get plant growth on your build. This is why the Fey Warlock is actually pretty cool. I think this is a big highlight here. Level 6, you'll actually get another class ability. You saw the reaction ability. It's called Misty Escape. If you take damage, which kind of sucks, but if you take damage, you can become invisible on reaction. You'll burn your reaction point, but you'll turn invisible, and then you can cast Misty Step next turn to reposition for free, which is, in the case of Misty Step, you kind of get Misty Step on boots and other pieces of gear on short rest. So this being a short rest right here is pretty powerful. So yeah, when you take damage, become invisible, and next turn you get Misty Step for free, and it's only available on short rest. So once you burn it in a fight, you'll have to wait and short rest again. Level 7, the spells you get are Dominate Beast, which is also available on Great Old One subclass for Warlocks. But you do get greater invisibility, which I tried to show off a little bit by using Gale. I feel that Fey Warlocks don't really get enough in the proficiencies, the expertise of stealth, to really maximize how good this is. But you could cast it on somebody else, and how many times can you do it? You can cast on somebody else 3 times per short rest. You can cast a greater invisibility, and considering if you set this up right, greater invisibility can murder people without even starting combat. It's kind of powerful, but I don't know if it's self-sufficient. Dominate Person, again, a spell that's available on the Great Old One subclass, also makes sense here. You get it. Dominate Person allows you to add an ally. We try to use that, try to show that off, right? So as long as you maintain concentration, it's 10 turns of putting an enemy under your control. And seeming is basically disguise self, right? Being able to change into disguise, but you can do the whole team, which I don't know, it's kind of silly, but we'll talk about it. So beguiling defense is your final subclass trait. Beguiling defense, what it does is you can't be charmed. That's it. For reference, at level 10, the Fiend Warlock, right? Level 10 Fiend Warlock will allow you to choose every short rest period a defense. So if you wanted Psychic's defense or Slashing defense, you'll get that, and you can change it on the fly, even mid-combat with no actions, every short rest period. So yeah. Speaking of that, here's my analysis. So Fey Presence for a level 1 dip, actually pretty cool, right? Comes back on short rest. You can have 2 powerful effects, keeping yourself safe ultimately, right? Between the Fey Presence and Disturbing Presence, right? You're going to be able to charm everybody in an area, or you're going to be able to frighten people. So I don't know the potential combos for this, but just from like on paper what you can do with this, if you're a caster, you can get yourself to safety because you can, anybody surrounding you can now be basically frightened so they can't move, or they just can't hit you if they ended up being charmed. From a melee perspective, because warlocks make pretty good melee characters with Pact of the Blade, right? What you can do is frighten your targets, and now they have disadvantage against you, so you can take your time kind of slaughtering them for 2 turns. Yeah, so that's actually defensive value for a melee character, right? Or just a caster that needs to get away. Misty Escape is also a pretty good idea for getting away. So once per combat effectively, because it's a short rest ability, right? When you really need it, if you took damage, you can reposition yourself with that. Not only being invisible, so targets go screw off and attack somebody else, but the Misty Step will allow you to warp somewhere else, keeping you pretty safe, right? Then there's Beguiling. Well, it's kind of a joke, in my opinion, at least on paper. I don't really know from all the times I've done honor mode, let alone anything else, that I was really worried about being charmed. So by level 10, I should have some kind of answer of it, especially because this subclass gives me calm emotions. And if you're in something like honor mode, or maybe even tactician, right, you should know what you're getting into. So you would have a calm emotions up already, and it affects everybody in this circle. So yeah, not the greatest passive defense. Kind of silly. Right, but this is just my opinion. If you know something that this has real good value, I talked about in a video deep commitment into a subclass, and this just isn't a good example in my opinion. Okay, so spells. Dominate is already on Great Old One. If you couldn't already tell from my bias, I think Great Old One is a better subclass, right? But I'm not here to make a tier list, and I just want to show what this has. But you do have to kind of recognize, if you're going any levels into a warlock to get their subclass, right, you're giving up the other subclasses. So you're giving up Great Old One. To go this far, you would have already gotten Dominate Beast and Dominate Person on the other subclass anyway. So that's what you're missing out on. When you switch into Great Old One as opposed to the Phaylok, you're not really missing out on these, are you? You're still getting these, and in my opinion, better spells. But Blink, like I said, to be fair, I don't know enough about the spells. Tell me in the comments or in the chat when we stream. I want to know any tips and tricks with Blink. Personally, after playing it with a little bit, it's better than I thought it was on paper. It's kind of cool. I want to try some more with Blink, and this could be the killer app for Fey Warlocks since nothing else gets it. All right, Plant Growth. I think this is the killer app currently because it combos with Hunger, Hadar, and if you don't know the general rule, usually a difficult terrain on the ground, like Plant Growth or Spike Growth, this will not override a Hunger of Hadar, which is a cloud. Okay, this is why these two can combo. So if you were thinking, oh, this difficult terrain will override this difficult terrain, I won't use both, you're wrong. And even better, right, it's nice to know one character can preemptively drop a Plant Growth, which doesn't cost concentration, and then cast a Hadar, right? And even before I get level 11, I could have this combo pretty like into the mid game, and I would still have on short rest the ability to use cast both. So if that's all my warlock is going to cast, that's fine because he has a reliable cantrip, or if he's a Pact of the Blade, he has a main hand attack that has 2 attacks, right? So in the mid game and beyond, this is a powerful combo that can be used, and then once you're level 11, you'll actually have 3 spell slots, but these spell slots come back on short rest, right? So you can always use this combo reliably, and it's pretty powerful. That's why I made fun of it, right? It's pretty funny to use it in an example there. So Fairy Fire, right? This is, again, an early game spell. The nice thing about early game spells is if you feel this isn't valuable after, say, Act 1, as you learn more spells, you can replace this spell with something like Hadar or Plant Growth. So you get your use out of it in Act 1 because it's not going to upcast like a lot of these Warlock spells, which is a bummer because you're leveling. As you level, your Warlock spells naturally upgrade their spell level anyway, right? Sleep is another case like this. As opponents get more HP, you're not going to find many uses where you can knock opponents out for a couple turns by causing them to sleep, right? But in the early game, where a lot of things have about 30 HP at best, you can maybe even hit 2 targets with sleep, and they're out of the fight effectively for 2 turns as long as you don't, hurt them or somebody helps them up, okay? And that's really powerful control. So keep that in mind. Sleep isn't normally something available to Warlocks. So, Seeming, like I said, if you know any tricks with Seeming, typically what I find is if you're going to use Disguise Self, which is a great ability and can be taken as an invocation for Warlocks, you're probably just going to use it on yourself to Disguise Self and get the whatever benefits there for stealing or for talking and dialogue and the Shapeshifter Ring and so on and so forth. I don't know that the whole group needs this, so let me know in the comments because I think this is kind of poo-poo. Alright, great invisibility. I don't think there's enough here. I still have to experiment, but a pure Warlock, I don't think they have enough to really use this, but they can make an ally, like say Gale over here, who's a Bard, and he has, well, we already talked about Valor Bard in the last video, but Sleight of Hand and Stealth are expertise. So he has crazy stealth value plus the Shapeshifter. The way you abuse greater invisibility is you give it to yourself or somebody who has the capability to make these stealth checks, and every time they hit, they make progressively harder stealth checks to remain invisible. But if you can make these progressively harder stealth checks, you can go like an insane amount of, maybe even the full 10 turns of invisibility while attacking somebody, and you don't even have to start combat. So what I could do effectively is cast greater invisibility. Keep in mind, at level 11 I could cast it 3 times, right? I could cast this on my deadly assassin and they can be invisible and murder everybody in real time. No turn-based combat, just keep hitting the attack button and attacking people. So this is a very powerful spell, but I don't think it's self-sufficient. You would have to maybe multi-class, and that's what I'm currently working on with Jaheira's build, in order to make myself be able to cast this 3 times per short rest. That's 9 times with 3 short rest periods, right, per day. So 9 greater invisibilities could cause me to keep going into encounters, invis myself, and just keep murdering them before combat even starts. It's wild what you can do with greater invisibility. Okay, Warlock is also just good regardless. I actually tried to prevent myself to making builds that just blast, but let's be honest, what they can do really well is they can cast these really awesome control spells or terrain spells or difficult terrain, right? That's why even on Halsin's build, what he can do is use his spell slots to create a dangerous trap of plant growth and Hadar, and then he can just stand in it or run around it and control the battlefield while he blasts everybody, because Eldritch Blast is such a reliable range cantrip with the force damage, adding your charisma to the accuracy and damage, right? Then there's Pact Weapon. Halsin actually can do it all. He has Pact Weapon. The cool thing about Pact Weapon is it effectively at level 5 acts as an extra attack with your Deepened Pact. Pact of the Blade will end up causing you to have like a martial extra attack. So even if you're not attacking with your Pact Weapon like Belm here, I can also just throw people twice. So I get 2 attacks with Pact Weapon, right? And then ultimately level 3 or 3 level 5 spell slots per short rest. So at level 11 you'll upgrade to 3 slots per short rest, and these have been upgrading levels as you get further into the class. Something I really love about Warlock. This can be really powerful because, well, not for the Fey Warlock spells, right? Certain spells don't exactly upcast benefits, but usually what this means is you get awesome benefits of knowing that when you're using these spells they automatically upcast to their highest power, and it also enables you to use a level 5 spell like Hold Monster 3 times per short rest. No other caster can do that without scrolls or a lot of gear and whatnot. So I find that really freaking powerful, really valuable, okay? So blast, 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 right? Eldritch Blasters. It's not what I think Warlock's all about, but it's definitely something innately built into them, especially if you grab the Agonizing and Repelling Blast perks, right? I'm still looking into the subclass. I don't know everything. And then, of course, I'm trying with Jaheira. Maybe I'll multi-class again, and I'll do 1 level of Rogue, because I'll still get those 3 spell slots at the highest level, but I'll be able to self-sufficiently make a greater invisibility character who can use it 9 times in 1 long rest period, which is kind of wild, right? I want this to be more druid-like. Let's just be honest. This is really like irrational, but I used Halsin and Jaheira because I was like, oh, maybe, you know, like Archfey is kind of like the druid warlock. Maybe it's the subclass that looks across the aisle and says, I want to be like a druid. Nah. That's not what it is. It'd be cool if there was some kind of shape-shifting. There was some better perks to this, to be honest. Like, I'm not really wildly impressed, especially that level 10. What if the level 10 for Archfey was that you could shapeshift into like some kind of warlock bear or something like that? But whatever, it's neither here nor there. What it's really more referencing is just your patron is something in the Fey Wilds domain in another plane of existence. So I'm just going to cover Halsin's build, and it's a bit of a stat man. We're going to blitz through it, right? It's very simple. The reason I dump stats like 8 strength and 10 dex at the start is because we can get gloves and an elixir of cloud giant strength, and we can effectively have 4 main stats. It's kind of wild, right? 27 strength, 18 dexterity. We can have constitution. Before we get the amulet, while we level this character up, this is 16 constitution. We can have decent wisdom for saving throws and whatever. And we have charisma. And this is all a level 12 character, okay? Halsin can actually do it all because I think this is a very underrated weapon. Belm. Thanks to Pact Weapon and Pact of the Blade, we can make this proficient, right? And it allows us to actually attack with our bonus action. So even with our weapon, we can attack 3 times in 1 turn. 1, right? 2, and instead of the offhand, what we'll do is we'll use Belm's unique ability of attacking with the offhand, okay? Otherwise, you can ranged attack. You don't need bows. You can just use Eldritch Blast, of course. But you know what? I didn't go the potent robes, okay? So we have our initial stats, and our actor feat, something I highlight all the time, is going to give you deception and performance checks throughout the game as you level up. So this is the first feat I would take, and then I would take alert, because honestly initiative is really important, especially in honor mode. So you always want to be able to strike first and not be caught off guard in scenarios you're not really remembering that kind of catch you by surprise. You can't be surprised. And then finally round it out with even more to charisma. But unlike the usual typical Eldritch Blast gear or Warlock gear, we're actually going to take Hood of the Weave, and we're going to take Supreme Defenses for our gear, right? Because it allows us to concentrate like freaking crazy, right? But we also can take our Warlock invocations, allow us to have Mage Armor. So if we're just wearing robes, we can still bump up our armor class. 19 is pretty fantastic for not wearing armor. Devil Sight, so we can see through the blindness when we create Hunger of Hadar or Darkness Clouds. Very, very abusable. And then there's Pact Weapon. So again, this allows us to attack twice with our weapon. It allows us to use our weapon attacks with our Charisma for accuracy and damage. There's Agonizing and Repelling Blast. This enhances our Eldritch Blast. We know all that crap, right? So we have the Dexterity Gloves, the Strength Elixir, the Constitution Amulet, and we're using this Terrain Ring because not only can we just walk through our flower field without any kind of downsides, right? No quartering our movement, but we also can't be restrained or paralyzed, right? So it's a huge, really great ring. Very underrated or not talked about enough. And the Speed Boots allow us to use our bonus action to get double the movement. So we can get 90 feet of movement with this. Pretty crazy. Belm and Rhapsody is a good combo. Rhapsody, I talk about this all the time. It's just good, especially for Warlocks, but we don't have to use our offhand as an attack. We can actually use Belm. So Rhapsody is going to add 3 more attack and accuracy to Belm and everything else we do anyway. And Belm will be able to attack twice, plus a 3rd time with our bonus action. Very cool combo right there. Kind of underrated, right? So let's actually take a look at it one more time, and then I'll leave you because I don't have all the time right now. Here we go. Let's save it. Like I said, what we're doing here is abusing the fact that if we set up a terrain that has no concentration especially one that quarters movement instead of halves movement, then we can create another terrain on top of it, so long as it's considered a cloud and plant growth is considered a ground, okay? But you probably shouldn't stand it at the start of the turn. The way Hadar works is, if you're at the start and end of your turn, you'll take 2 different damage types as a saving throw, right? So as long as Halsin's out of this, he can throw people in it, and at the start of their turn, they must take a saving throw, right? At the start of their turn to take damage. Plus, they're blinded, so it's very hard for them to shoot out of it, and their movement is quartered, so to jump out of it, they would have to dash, then jump, just to get out of the damn thing. And because we have click heals and don't quarter our own movement, and we can see through magical darkness, we can actually run up all the way to this guy, pick him up, and throw him in. And I think we'll have just enough movement to get out of the cloud, so we don't end or start our turn in the cloud losing, you know, possibly losing concentration. And then of course you can just have your buddies, especially if they can just see in there, they can just Eldritch Blast them, and even if they survive that volley of Eldritch Blast or whatever, they're going to have the hardest time to get out of there. So this is one of the most brutal examples of what we call control, right? Right, so even if they survive, fat chance, right? But they're blinded in there, as you can see, blinded. Hunger Hadar is going to cause damage beginning and end of the turn, which they'll likely get because it's hard to get out of there. And they'll have to blow all their actions and bonus actions just to jump out of there, if they can even do it. Then they can't do anything their turn, so you can just push them or throw them back in there. So I know for a fact, at least if nothing else, you have that combo going for you because of the Fey Archfiend, right? Then we have Misty Escape, so this is great as well, as long as you use it correctly. You'll go invisible, right? And you can reposition yourself next turn with the Misty Step. And for a short term or a short rest ability, that's actually really awesome. He's done. He failed the saving throw. Starts his turn with ice damage. He had to spend all of his stuff to get out of there. He hopped out of it, so whatever. It's fine. Okay, so like I said, we can not waste any movement or actions because we used our Fey ability. This is probably the nicest thing about it. Misty Stepping, if you get this, right? It didn't cost me an action or a bonus action, which means I can then retain my actions or reserve my actions for throwing this guy back in, right? And then if I had like another action from a speed potion or someone haste me, I can also come over here with Agonizing Blast. Targets like the Steel Watchers cannot be pushed through brute strength, like 27 strength from the elixir. But, funny enough, they can be pushed by Eldritch Blast, so take Repelling Blast even if your Eldritch Blast isn't that strong, right? There we go. And we can run over to you. We have one more throw available, so we'll throw you back in the wild. There we go. Enjoy the flowers. Okay, and then same old, same old. And because you have really powerful spells innately on Warlock, you can also use Hold Person, Hold Monster. Remember, amazing thing about pure Warlock or level 11 Warlock is I have 3 Hold Persons or Hold Monsters, which can hold just about anything. I have 3 of them per short rest. It's crazy. And then you can just come over here and just go blasting them. Alright, so let's go. Pew pew. Alright, so there's more I could say. Unfortunately, I gotta kind of end this. So how do you play these and how do you level them up? Well, just come watch the streams, because inevitably I play Warlocks all the time. Funny enough, we're playing a Warlock called the Hot Chick. It's a Karlach run, and she's just not even using Eldritch Blast. So I try to come up with cool characters and abilities while restraining the build and not always trying to make the best, strongest thing, but the best cool thing I can make, right? And we always have more fun on the streams when people join. We chat, we try to answer questions, and I try to come from a honor mode reference, not just because, look at me, I'm a pro sweaty gamer, but I want to see people play honor mode. I think it's the best thing about the game, and there's so many ways to replay and make characters. I love answering questions in the comments or the live chat, so I want to encourage people to play honor mode and do cool stuff, not just dual guns and Eldritch Blast, but actually make cool characters, and you feel really badass at the end of a campaign once you finally beat the Elder Brain. All right, so who's our sponsor? You are. thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Support has been crazy, especially on the members end. I'm trying to add cool things for members, but in the meantime, it's cool enough that people are even watching my videos. So hopefully you get something out of them. But I gotta go. I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next one.